All right, welcome in, everybody. I'm your host, Pat Bradley, here with my co-hosts, Carl Mann and Tommy Sullivan, and this is the Three-Man Rush Podcast, a casual NFL gambling podcast from casual NFL gamblers. Word of advice, we are not professionals, and nothing we say should be considered gambling or financial advice. We are simply a bunch of passionate football fans who enjoy betting on the games, and fortunately, whose wives don't yet have access to our bank accounts. Carl, Tommy, boys, we're here. Football's back. What's going on, guys?
Football is back this week. Let's go.
Let's go. Casual Buccaneers flag there in the back from a should we
up here in Syracuse. Yes, sir.
Yeah, Patriots fan with the Buccaneers flag living in New York. What a cluster that is.
I mean, I at least have my football stuff. You have a Red Sox thing in the background, and Tommy's wearing a hockey jersey, so.
Yeah, really, like we're setting ourselves up. If you are just listening to this podcast, let's just say the visual is not helping confidence in the picks that we are about to make here. But yeah, I'm excited. Football's here. We ready to rock and roll?
Absolutely. I already got my Mac Jones offensive rookie of the year bet in there.
I love that prop bet. I love it. It's sitting there. It's him or it's Trevor Lawrence. Maybe we'll have time to talk about that later on. Before we dive in, I just want you to know, if you have a problem gambling or you think you may have a problem gambling or someone you know may have a problem gambling, check out the National Problem Gambling Helpline Network by calling 1-800-522-4700. Or if you're Carl, that's speed dial number 3.
Usually they call me, but, I mean, here we are.
Never a good sign. Never a good sign. But maybe that means we're going to have some good picks. We'll see what that is. And, of course, we're going to keep track of that this season to see who's doing the best against the spread as I wiggle around here because I'm a very experienced podcast host. And we're going to see who's the best and hopefully win a little bit of money, have a lot of fun.
Or lose a lot of money and still have a podcast at the end.
Hey, everything's made up and the points don't matter, right? Actually, sorry, wrong TV show. Don't sue me.
Just do it from my perspective. You put in just enough money to have that same amount of money when the season ends, and you're golden.
There you go. The minimum goal is to break even. That's the Mendoza line is breaking even here when we're gambling. Of course, we all have our own mottos. We'll talk about that. But ultimately, this show is going to be for every gambler out there. If you are bold and beautiful and putting $1 million on every game of the week, what the fuck are you doing listening to this podcast? Go stop right now. If you just like putting a little bit of money, you wake up Sunday morning for you West Coasters. Do we have any California listeners out there? I bet we do. And you're just like, hey, you know what? Like, why don't I just live bet some sports, some football, some NFL football? Not
or if you conveniently need milk that requires you to drive across a border to place an online bet. I mean,
across a border, yes. If that's what you need to do, like I do, then you know what? Whoever you are, this podcast is for you. We all like to help. You what?
We're here to help and entertain while you're doing all those things.
Exactly. We all like to dabble in gambling. Sometimes we have friends who will just put $1 on games. We have friends or people on the podcast who put way more money that they don't have. And you can tell if you're watching who that might be. So there's a little bit of everything in this group. There's some experience, there's some inexperience, but ultimately we love football. We love having fun, and we hope you can come along on the ride with us. So breaking down the format of the show, here's what we're going to do just to give you a little bit of preview because this is the first episode ever, and who the fuck are we? Format of the show. We're going to break down every single game on the NFL schedule for you, and we are picking results against the spread every single game, every single week. The podcast should drop on Thursdays. Emphasis on the should. We'll see what happens, but we want you to be able to bet on every game of the week. not just on the Sunday, Monday games of the week. And after we run through and kind of break down each game on the schedule, maybe we'll even give you a couple of our favorite bets and, dabble in a parlay or two. Just dabble. You can tell that's my favorite word. We'll see what happens.
Sprinkle some change on it.
Sprinkle a little bit of change. I like that. All right. Without further ado, I will just say these odds are from DraftKings Sportsbook. DraftKings, hit us up if you want to sponsor us. It's great. Hashtag not a sponsor, but I figured it was fair to let you all know, our listening audience of 1 million people on day one, where we're pulling these odds from. Different books have different lines. If you're new, if you're not, then you're saying, what the hell? Just get on with it. But again, if you're not new, then you're not listening anyway.
We're recording this on Tuesday night, so things could change between now and the time you're listening to
that. Or if let's say the Saints cut a backup running back, maybe that could happen within
Syracuse's own baby, Latavius Murray.
Sorry,
we love Latavius.
Maybe.
Hey, you know what? Friend of the pod. I support Latavius Murray because they asked him to take a pay cut, and he said, "Go fuck yourself." So,
to be fair, he is a friend of a friend of the pod.
Of the pod.
He went to high school with someone that I worked with once for a couple weeks.
And we have our first over-under hit of the week. If you took under 10 minutes for Carl to have a name drop of a professional football player, you've won. Congratulations. Absolutely nothing but pride. All right. So as Carl said, these odds are as of Tuesday night at 8:30 p.m. Eastern. Again, from the DraftKings Sportsbook, where, sponsored by the state of New Hampshire, where you can live in Massachusetts, cross the border, get some milk, and place your bets on any day of the week. DraftKings, hit us up, sponsor us. All right, without further ado, the game of the week. Drum roll, please. Just kidding. Don't do that. That's tacky. The Cowboys, the Dallas Cowboys, are in Tampa playing the Buccaneers. Tom Brady and the defending Super Bowl champions. The Bucs here are favorite, 8-point favorites. Pretty big number, especially on ring night. Kind of feels like a trap, if you ask me. Over-under is looking at 52 points. So if you bet a 26-26 tie, good for you. You get your money back. Boys, Cowboys, Bucs, ring night, Thursday night football in Tampa. What do we think? Carl.
You want me to start as a Tampa Bay fan?
Go for it.
Who sold their season tickets for the game to not go? I obviously am high on Tampa Bay. I have them ranked number 2 in my power rankings that I created myself that I definitely didn't download off a website. And the Cowboys are down in the middle, like 13, 14 area. So I think the Cowboys are going to have a good season. We'll see what Dak can do when he comes back, and maybe he'll pick up right where he left off, and this game's going to be a little bit closer than maybe some of us expect. But, you really can't compete with opening games, you know what I mean? Like the energy from the crowd that's going to be there that did get a chance to go to a lot of the games last season. Bringing back their whole team, basically, that just won the Super Bowl. I feel like Tampa's probably going to just handle business. I don't see it being a close game. So, I'll give my pick a little later on officially, but I just don't think that Dallas is going to be able to bring it, with all the energy going on from the ring ceremony and everything. Tom, you look like you're a little concerned about my
we are starting the disagreements real early here on this pod. This game to me, I do like the Bucs. But I'm really bullish on the Cowboys this year. This game to me screams shootout. Because yes, you say all the things about the ring ceremony and the energy and everything, and I do agree with that. I also remember when the Kansas City Chiefs came into New England and beat them. I forget what's the score. I think it was like 42-10 or something after.
It was a lot to a little.
Yeah.
I blacked out.
We were all there. We were all there. Very excited. Gotta love the trophies. And then you leave disappointed as a home fan.
So for the -8 is very tough because blowouts it could still be just like a 45-37 blowout, which would push. I would definitely if I'm doing like any side bets on this, I would absolutely hammer the over. but whether the Bucks cover or not is a coin flip to me.
Yeah, I agree. I have like a projected line of 9.5. So I think that there's still, in my opinion, a little bit of value, but it's a tough number because you could get that backdoor cover pretty easily. This might be something that you could tease down,
especially this game.
You're going to get into other types of bets, but something that you might want to tease down to get a lower number, pairing it with another like higher spread game that is, more of a sure thing. If you think Tampa Bay is going to win, but you don't think they're going to cover, we could talk about some other ways to bet Tampa and get that line down a little bit to get a little bit more value. I agree with that, but I still think Tampa's going to handle business, and I wouldn't be surprised if this is more of a double-digit victory just based on everything.
Did you guys know that before his injury last year, Dak was on pace? On pace. This is going to be a fun phrase for the rest of the pod. On pace for over 7,000 passing yards.
7,000, and this year he gets one extra game to do it.
Yep. He looked like the best player in football for 5 weeks of the season. Now he's obviously not going to keep that up, but I think that there is.
He's not
with that offensive attack. I think that there is heavy. I think that they are going to be. That's why I think that this is going to be a blowout game, actually, because not a blowout, high scoring.
What do you say to Hard Knocks fans who watch Dak get shut down for several weeks, not throw, kind of sit there on the sidelines? He's anxious. He's excited. He's ready to get back. He wants to be on the field. But really a gruesome injury that we've seen other players in other sports suffer and take longer to come back from. A Gordon Hayward comes to mind. Different sports, apples and oranges. But if you remember, and I'm gonna call on Boston sports here because I'm a Boston sports fan. Hayward was not quite the same when he came back. I'm blanking on other athletes. We know they've done the same things. People like a Paul George have done that. I'm a hoop head, so I'm gonna keep referencing basketball. Have we seen a football injury like this to a high profile player and seen them come back and perform? I don't know. I mean, if we're gonna bet on somebody to do it. Other than like Tom Brady, who clearly sold his soul to somebody a long time ago, I would bet on Dak Prescott. He's tough. He works hard. I like him.
And Tom Brady's on the other side of the ball in that game, though. So, I mean, that's what I feel like you're competing with is like you're competing with someone who's been there, done that. So, I mean, why would this be any different?
I would also say that the injury that limited him in camp was his shoulder. So it's completely different. I think his leg is completely fine.
But that's what I'm saying too. Is so you have a guy who may not be himself because of that ankle injury, but then he comes in and he can't even throw for several weeks. He's shut down, and you're not seeing him even get those reps in practice, let alone like live action. I mean, are we concerned about Russ in this game on Thursday night, 2 days from now?
Russ or Dak?
No, Russ. Like, is he going to shake off the Russ? We can edit that out later.
I didn't know there was a trade last minute. I just
got
a notification.
Russell Wilson, quarterback of the Dallas Cowboys. How do we feel about him learning the offense in 48 hours? Yeah,
that's probably the crux of where the line is right now, and I guess it just comes down to personal preference. I trust Dak.
Okay, so we have one for the Bucks, one for the Cowboys.
What's the tiebreaker?
If it was anybody else, I won't just facilitate here. If it was anybody else, I would pick the Cowboys to cover. I think 8's a big number for the best teams playing the worst teams. There on this is cliche, any given Sunday in the NFL, there is a lot of parity.
It's on Thursday.
Or any given Thursday. There can't be, especially on Thursdays, there is parity, although this is the opening game of the season, so maybe it doesn't apply. I'm really torn. I don't like picking teams on banner night, but I really think that Tom Brady and the Bucks are extra motivated to come out and show that this wasn't just a fluke. They're more than just an all-star team, which they really kind of are, and that they can repeat. Nobody's repeat since the 03-04 Patriots. Tom Brady.
Who was on that team? Yeah.
Just one man. You may know him. His name is Thomas Edward Patrick Brady Jr., now in his 40s playing for the Buccaneers. I opened this. I was going to take the Cowboys, but I'm not. I'm taking the Bucks. We're going to cover, or we're at least going to push, but I'm taking the Bucks -8 in this game.
Love it.
It's fine. I'll be
thoughts.
alone here on Dollar Bill Island, so it's fine.
Dollar Bill Island. All right. Any other highlights, keys to this game, anything that you think bettors should be aware of, or do we want to move on?
Now, weather should be good. The stadium's going to be popping. I mean, just good night for a game.
Popping. Okay. Moving on.
Fire the cannons.
Fire the cannons. Let's freaking go. All right. Our alternate game of the week here. I don't know if everybody agrees with this being a game of the week. We could have picked other games, but the Pittsburgh Steelers at the Buffalo Bills. Bills are favored by 6.5 points. Over/under looking at 48.5 in this game. We're opening with a home game for the Bills, who very, very well could have wound up in the Super Bowl last year. A closer game than some imagined. People think that they could be right back there this year. A couple bounces in any game. We'll see what happens. Then again, it's the Bills, and they now have a first place schedule for the first time in a long time. Maybe the first time in my football watching life, showing my age or lack thereof. We like Josh Allen. We like Josh Allen with Stephon Diggs. We like that defense. We like a lot of what they did. Can they do it against a tough schedule this year? We don't know, but all we need to worry about right now is week 1 with the Pittsburgh Steelers coming to town. Tommy, Steelers getting 6.5 points in this game. What do you think?
I was going to say, yeah, we'll worry about that tough schedule when it actually does get tough because it is not this week. First of all, there are 2 points on the Bills. First of all, it's that we don't have to worry about. And 2, this game is going to be the 1 week where they are definitely fully healthy. We'll see how that goes out throughout the year based on their personnel that they have employed right now. So yeah, give me the Bills at that line. They're gonna smother the Steelers.
Yeah, I'll piggyback on that, and going off like my rankings where I had Tampa as number 2, I have Buffalo as number 3. The Chiefs being at number 1 at the top of the ranking. So like in great company up there at the top, and the Steelers are all the way down at 20. So I don't see this as being a close game at all. It's in Buffalo. If it was in Pittsburgh, you might have an argument of environment first week, terrible towels waving. But even though Steelers fans travel, I just don't see Buffalo, letting off the gas at all. Honestly, I think it's going to be a blowout. I think 6.5 is not enough points.
I agree.
Okay, so if Josh Allen jumps off of an RV through 2 tables into a fire pit, can the Bills still win this game?
I've seen their fans survive worse, so I think Allen, even if he does that, he would be on the field.
Okay, great. I'm going to pick the Bills also. I just don't have a lot of faith in the Steelers, but something I do have a lot of faith in is their offense. Obviously, the Bills have one of the best defenses in the league, and Ben Roethlisberger. Is anybody ever really healthy? Is Ben ever really healthy? He's here. Does he want to be here for one more year? It's like the opposite of this is my last year. I'm going to give it everything to me. It's I'm just here collecting a check. We'll see what happens. I'm going to check it, maybe set a record or 2, see what I can do, have some fun, go out there and sling it. But slinging it, we've seen this offense do ridiculous things on days that they had no business doing it. And we've seen their defense let them down anyway when they're putting up 40-plus points. I think that's probably the tail of the tape in this one. I think the Bills are going to score. I think they're going to do really whatever they want to the Pittsburgh defense. Mm-hmm. The question is Buffalo's defense ready to handle kind of that 3-headed monster, the Claypool, the Deontay Johnson, the Juju Smith-Schuster, and not to mention Najee Harris coming out here looking pretty good early on. I think having that run game set the tone is going to be really big and allow Ben to chuck it wherever he wants. So with that said, what needs to happen for the Steelers to pull off an upset, or can they?
So actually, to piggyback off of what you were saying about their offense, I think the Steelers are going to be the Jekyll and Hyde team this year, where because all 3 wide receivers are very mercurial. If they all pop, they're going to be firing on all cylinders. But all 3 of them have the chance to just flame out week in, week out, especially when you have Ben Roethlisberger just slinging it. And Najee Harris's first, he's going to be great. His first professional game against that Bills defense? Not for me.
Yeah, right. And, in future games on their opponents, it's going to be one of those set the tone with the run, allow them to break it open, and then, facilitate the pass. I just don't see the Steelers getting ahead early enough, and they're going to start relying on Ben Roethlisberger chucking all over the field. And I would take over Ben Roethlisberger interceptions this week. I don't even know what the line is. I would take it.
This screams a full INT game.
Yeah, easily. All right. The only shot that the Steelers have of winning this game is returning the opening kick for a touchdown, making a stop on defense, and then just controlling the game. There's no way. They can't play from behind in this game where it's going to get ugly.
All right.
Pittsburgh, that is just for this week. We know you travel well. We are not going to be this hard on them every week. This is just the circumstances that were laid out in front of them.
I'll grab my terrible towel next week. We'll wave whenever the Steelers are one of my picks. We'll get that terrible towel out. But until then, it's safely tucked away.
I was just gonna say it's locked right now.
All right, consensus: Bills -6.5. We think they're going to cover. Lock it in, or as Tommy likes
jump
to say,
on it before it gets to 7. I think that would be a key.
That's true. The line will move. That extra half point plays a difference. Bills covering. Put it in the books.
Hardcore.
Moving on to a few of our must-watch games of the week. This one's pretty exciting. The Cleveland Browns at Kansas City. Chiefs favored by 6.5. Over/under there. I think this is the highest over/under of the week. 54.5 points. It sounds like there isn't going to be a lot of defense according to Vegas, which checks out. Carl, what do we think about this game?
I'm actually really big on the Browns this year. I think that they could probably take that division, if we're being honest, if you want to get crazy with it. I mean, Baltimore's pretty good. We already just talked about Pittsburgh, but I think Cleveland's going to be really good. I just don't see it happening this week for them. I mean, Kansas City is a great team. I think the line's pretty spot on. I don't think there's any value in the line, really. I think 7 points is probably right where that game's going to finish. But what would be interesting to see is how Cleveland can respond in the next week and the weeks following with this tough loss. I mean, this could be a key loss for them in terms of a standing later on if it does come to a head-to-head matchup where that one loss to Kansas City, where if they just flip the outcome, they could change their seeding drastically. So I'll be curious to see how Cleveland responds if they aren't able to pull it out. I mean, Tommy, what do you think? Do you think Cleveland can pull it out this week?
Nope. What I was going to say is I do like the assessment of the Browns. I do think that they're going to be a very good team this year. I think they're going to challenge for that divisional crown, but not this week. I would take everything that you said about the Bucs coming out, firing on all cylinders, being motivated, apply that to the Chiefs. Mm-hmm. They took that L in the Super Bowl, and at least to start the season, because I know that they've had a couple long seasons in the past couple of years. To start this season, they're going to be all out everything. Mahomes, Kelsey, Tyreek, Edwards are there. They're all. I would take them if 6.5 is good, but I would still take them even if it was a little bit higher. I think this is going to be a little bit more of a blowout.
I like the idea of a motivated Patrick Mahomes and a Kansas City Chiefs team. It's interesting, right? We've seen him come out, play really, really well early on. Probably should have gone to the Super Bowl when the Patriots went that year, but didn't. And based on what we saw from that game, in all likelihood, really could have won that Rams Super Bowl as well. Was the Rams? Yeah. We can edit this out later. The Rams should have won the Rams Super Bowl. And then they came back and they won. And they beat a very good San Francisco 49ers team. We could talk about how well they're coached a different time on a different show. But they came out and they won the Super Bowl. And that takes a lot of moxie. You march right back after being a winner, go to the Super Bowl, and then lose once again to our guy, Tom Brady. Does that push you a little bit more? And are you thinking about that during week one? We'll find out. I, too, am a big fan of the Cleveland Browns this year. I took them in April. I just checked April 22nd to win the division. I am high on the Browns' chances. I love that defense. I love the coaching. I think Baker Mayfield has a lot of potential. The floor is questionable, but that offense can do things. It's not as electric as we may have once thought it could be. Although, with my apologies to Nick Chubb and former Chief Kareem Hunt, you never know what's going to happen and who can break off a 90-yard run. And if Odell comes back healthy, who knows? I'm very high on the Browns, but I would rather lose betting on Patrick Mahomes to cover the spread and blow somebody out than – I mean, I would obviously rather win the bet. That's a stupid motto. But I'm not betting against Patrick Mahomes. I'll take the loss betting on Patrick Mahomes rather than saying, no way, Mahomes isn't going to do it. I'm not taking that bet. I'm taking the Chiefs 10 times out of 10 until we see otherwise. So it sounds like unanimously here.
Are either of you worried about the Super Bowl hangover, having been to the Super Bowl in back-to-back years, winning and then losing? Are we worried that they're going to come out and just like lay an egg against this team? I mean, we're saying that the Browns are good, but do we think that there's a chance for a crazy upset? Even if it, obviously we're taking covering out of the equation, talking straight up, like, do we think that Kansas City loses this game at all?
I think that could catch up to them later on in the season, but I think to start out, they're going to be motivated to prove everybody wrong.
There's a world where the Browns win this game. Like a lot of worlds. I don't think this is like a surefire. I don't think it's a blowout. I don't know. I mean, the best thing for the Browns is 6.5 points. So really that's the best thing they have going for them, better than anything actual real football related, is that they're starting up 6.5 to 0, if that's the way you want to look at it. So I don't know. 6.5 is a lot of points. You got a touchdown, more or less. But
I think Arrowhead plays a factor in it as well. Like, I think if this was neutral site, it would probably be a couple points less.
Yeah. Well, if you think about the way, like, most people would argue that it's a 3-point home field advantage. If you take this game, flip it, put it in Cleveland, then you're basically saying it's a even matchup in Cleveland. You know, like so. I mean, maybe that's something we'll see.
Week 1, I don't disagree with that. Like, if this game was in Cleveland, I think it's a whole different story. It would be a lot harder for me to pick. I'm still going Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs. But I would think about it if it were in Cleveland. But it's a really good point, Tommy. Arrowhead's going to play a factor here. And I'm not going to start the season 0-1 betting against Patrick Mahomes.
Exactly.
For sure.
Fair enough.
All right, moving on. This one's a little bit tricky. This is kind of in our must-watch category because there's some big names here. Green Bay Packers favored by 3.5 points at, quote-unquote, we're going to put that in parentheses, at the New Orleans Saints. It's a road game, but it's a road game for everybody, and it's a weird one at that. So due to the recent hurricanes, the Superdome is not in business right now. The Saints are going to be opening up their season as a home team in Jacksonville, and it is hot down there. Let me tell you, if you've never been there, I've never been there, so I don't know why I'm talking like I have experience, but it's hot from what they tell me, as the kids say. Very hot down there. For a team that likes to play in a dome, for a team that likes to play in the snow, for a team that just lost Drew Brees and has Jameis Winston as their starter, but returns a talented defense, a talented offense, sans Latavius Murray, friend of the show, maybe someday, possibly. I don't know what to make out of this, but I am assuming that we're getting a motivated Aaron Rodgers. That's my take on this. He didn't want to be there, but he's back. He's got his buddies there. It's one last go around. Randall Cobb is back. I don't think he's going to move the needle, but he's there. I am on the side of, I think Rodgers is going all in and trying to cement his legacy in Green Bay, get one more title before going somewhere else, which I think he definitely does next year, whether that's somewhere else, a retirement home or a new team, saying like Tom Brady. We'll see. But I don't know what to make of this game. It's a really weird matchup in a really weird place with two really weird situations and teams kind of in transition. So, Tommy, what do we think?
This is absolutely the toss-up of the week because of all the factors you were just saying. I
100%.
can't get any read on what, given all the mitigating factors, I can't get any read on which team is going to be good. There's even injured, like Michael Thomas isn't going to be there. There's so many odds and ends that are still loose for both of these teams. You factor in the venue and everything. I can't get a read on it. I would probably bet the Saints to cover just because I think it's going to be a low scoring game anyways, which helps their chances of covering, but that's the best read I can get on it.
So we have a line at what, 3?
3.5. Packers 3.5.
Which is a tough, toss up. That extra half point could make or break like the whole flow. Mm-hmm. I think in New Orleans, give me New Orleans all day. Yep. I just think like Aaron Rodgers playing for a Super Bowl or a contract or whatever, I think he's going to come out firing. We kind of overlooked how well the Packers did last year. We always talk about the drama. We think about the drama, but they were one of the top teams in the NFC, and
NFC Championship game
they had a shot to be there. So I think that keeping Aaron Rodgers in the game and having him have that vengeance. I mean, it could end up like Tom Brady's last year in New England where it didn't go so well, but I don't know. I can't find myself betting against Aaron Rodgers. The 3.5 is kind of a stay away from me. I think the Packers win the game, but I wouldn't put any money on this. 3.5 is just not a good number. I think Tommy's right where the line's exactly where it should be for the flow of the game, I think.
It's right in that kind of Vegas, like, toss-up zone, right? Mm-hmm. Vegas is like, yeah, you know what? We don't really know what to do with this. Aaron Rodgers is the better quarterback. Yeah, they're on the road, but there's a lot of mitigating circumstances. So we're not going to call it 3. We're going to call it 3.5, which means if they were in Green Bay, this would look a whole heck of a lot different, which maybe tells you what people think of the Saints this year, what Vegas thinks of the Saints. Hard to tell. We'll see what happens if they ever get a home game and how they perform. I'm going to catch shit for this, but like Aaron Rodgers is hard to read. Just ask Matt LaFleur, right? We don't know. Is he going to come out motivated? Does he want to like open the season with this game and make a statement? Or is he just going to tell us to relax, take a chill pill? You know, like what are we doing with this?
Right.
I don't know what Aaron Rodgers we're getting. The guy's always good, but does the guy always care? He can be good and not care. I think he has to care to win this game in these conditions, even if Jameis Winston throws 5 interceptions, which is very, very possible. Don't give me –
He's done it in that state plenty of times.
Exactly. The most electric player in football, you never know if there's a 60-yard touchdown in either direction with any throw he makes. So with that said, Packers. I'm taking the Packers.
Yeah.
You got to show me that Jameis Winston learned something from Drew Brees and can actually execute on that. A good coach like Sean Payton only goes so far. Is Sean Payton a good coach? Different conversation for a different.
I think this is a good point to say also. Like you don't have to bet every game on the schedule. Like this is one where I'm not going to put any money on. Stay away. Or we talked about teasers earlier. This might be one where I take the line from 3.5, bump it up for the Saints to be plus 9.5. I think that 9.5 is an easy cover for the Saints in the situation. They could win it outright, and you wouldn't even need the points. But you could tease teams up, you can tease teams down. Again, that's something that we could always get into if people are interested. But either stay away from me or add it somewhere else where I can get better value.
Go ahead.
I was going to say if we get to like individual player props or everything at the end of this, remind me to come back to this game because I do have one that I would want to look at.
Good. Cool. Okay. All right. Good. So consensus here, we're probably staying away, but if we have to bet.
I think you two were I said the Saints. I picked the Saints to cover.
Okay. I think I would take the Packers as well, but I don't want to touch this game unless I'm teasing the line. I don't feel comfortable with it the way that it is.
Nope.
But one of those, I also think little like one of my manifesto things, week 1 is really hard to bet. You think you know these teams. You think you know what's going to happen. You can bring back the exact same team and be bad or be good. Mm-hmm. You could be better than you were. You could be worse than you were. It's really weird. The first couple weeks of the NFL season, I think, are harder to bet than anything else. And then, like, midnight strikes around October 1st, week 4. You might think you know what's going on. There's a couple more upsets. And then from there, I think it gets a little bit easier. Like, week 5, 6 on, it gets easier. But right now, right here, week 1 alone in a vacuum, this is a hard-to-predict game, let alone all the things that we added onto it. I'm not putting money on this game unless I can tease it somewhere that I really like and I feel comfortable and it's helping me somewhere else and I can get that value. Again, that's what gambling is all about. It's the value, right? What are you willing to risk in terms of your reward? So I would also take the Packers, gun to my head, but I'm not going to touch it if I don't have to.
Agree.
All right, moving on. Outside of our must-watch, it doesn't mean that these are bad games. It just means it's not necessarily appointment television. And then I apologize anyone who has to watch Jameis Winston this season because I don't know that that's appointment television. Unless you like chaos. I will probably shit on him all season until he proves otherwise. Let's go Taysom Hill. Moving into the watchable games. Seattle Seahawks on the road to start the year against the Indianapolis Colts. Over under that game is 50, so we think there's going to be some scoring, not as much defense. But the Seahawks on the road, favored by 2.5 points. Tommy, what's your take? Great take. Carl, what's your take?
You guys know
What?
You guys know what that one is?
No.
The deflated footballs, or
Oh, that is the sound of Russ cooking.
no? Get out of here. No, let Russ cook.
There's it up on a silver platter for you guys.
Hashtag let Russ cook.
We are hammering the Seahawks here all day. I do not trust Carson Wentz with anything. I think that the Colts are a mismatch pile on offense, and I just think that the weapons that the Seahawks have on their offense is far outweighs how good the Colts defense is versus the Seahawks defense versus the Colts offense. Seahawks all day.
I agree on everything that is up here, but when I put my numbers in the system, it's telling me that the Colts could win this game. So I don't know. I think for just record keeping, I think that I'll take the Colts. I mean, we'll see how it goes. Could be a huge loss for me, and I have to reevaluate my whole ranking system here. But I think that I have them as a 1 point favorite in this game, and they're an underdog. So I don't know. It might be something that could be way off on. I know Seahawks are usually good right at the beginning of the season. I mean, it's a tight game. The Seahawks love to play tight games. If they let the Colts hang around, I mean, could they make one play at the end of the game to hold on? Would it surprise me if the Seahawks won this game by 3 points like they win every single game against a bad team? I mean, no. But what's the line right now? 2.5?
2.5.
2.5. So I don't know. I think I'll take the Colts with no other reason other than my numbers said that they could win this game.
So, all right. A lot of things. The Seahawks are an enigma, number one. Number two, I don't trust Carson Wentz on a good day.
Mm-mm.
Number three, I definitely don't trust Carson Wentz with a whatever the hell injury he did to
On a
his foot.
Sunday.
on a Sunday. I definitely don't trust him on a Sunday. Saturday, that got him there. Sunday, no. But with that foot injury, he's allegedly fine. But it's football. Is anybody really fine? I think not. Big offseason acquisition. Coach is familiar with. They want to get him out there. Big expectations in Indianapolis. So
we also trust him throwing to the likes of Michael Pittman, Paris Campbell, and maybe Zach
JJ Taylor, maybe.
JJ Taylor, Nyheim Hines. I think. Listen, if you're a fantasy football person, if you like to do individual player prop bets, maybe a little same game parlay, if you will, to get some player props in there, I like Nyheim Hines a lot. If only because it's a better offense, a better coach with that offense. They like him a lot. They want to get him involved. And Carson Wentz, Captain Checkdown, Nyheim Hines all day, baby. So I like him a lot. Took him in every league that I had, but this is not a fantasy football show. This is a gambling podcast, which is why after all of the things that I told you that I don't like about Carson Wentz and the Colts, I'm going to go against the grain here because here's one more fun fact for you. When Vegas says someone's favored by 2.5 points in week 1 of the NFL season, it doesn't really mean that they think they're good. It means that they want to take your money. At the end of the day, think like a bookie. Where do they want you to bet? Okay. So you can argue, on the other hand, well, we're begging for you to take the Colts. I mean, we're giving them 2.5 points with that defense. But also, if you like the Seahawks, you're going to say, I mean, they're only favored by 2.5 points. I don't have to cover more than that. I can cover by a field goal. Well, hell yeah, I'm going to hammer that all day long. Vegas wants you to do that. On the road,
Do it.
First game of the season, I'm taking the Colts.
I'm
taking the Colts. I mean,
go.
I'm going to regret it. Russell Wilson's going to throw for 10 touchdowns. He's going to set an NFL record. I'm going to look like such a jackass, but you and I will be right there with our faces on some stupid meme together. That Colts defense is good. It's legit.
I want Tommy to go 16-0 on the first podcast.
I was going to say, I don't think you two have disagreed on a pick yet.
You know what? I haven't even paid attention.
I think it's been either unanimous or me versus me on Dollar Bill Island over here.
I'm sure it'll change. I thought I was going to be alone in this. I thought I was going to be alone by taking the Colts, but
the way you said it, like it makes sense up here, but down here, not so much. I should clarify down here where I'm pointing, and that's to your magical computer system that you made up.
As you said, where the line is for me, dink and dunk play style does not lead to more than a field goal victory. So, give me the Seahawks.
But that's all they need is a field goal. I don't know.
Wait, the Colts are underdogs in this game, right? I'm not crazy.
Yeah. Nope.
Okay. No, the Colts are dogs.
Home dogs. I'll take it all day. Week 1, home dogs. Give it to me.
I'm taking the Colts. I like it. Sorry, Tommy.
Nope, that's fine. I'm just raking the cash up here on my island.
For those keeping score at home, that's another teaser opportunity. 2.5 up to 8.5. Good numbers, because if you think the game's going to be close enough where the Seahawks don't win by more than a touchdown, then perfect opportunity.
That might be our parlay of the week. Maybe we're going to tease some games later on in the pod if we have time. All right, moving forward, the Los Angeles Chargers favored. I mean, geez, try to pick a game in week 1.
Talk about a pick-up.
Yeah. Favored by 1 point at maybe the best defense in the league? Question mark. Feels weird to say. The Washington football team over under there in DC, 44.5 points. But Chargers are favored on the road. Carl, what do you think?
I'm shaking my head. If you're not watching, I'm just shaking my head. I like the Chargers. I think they could be good. And maybe I'm just high on Washington from last season, winning the division at 8 wins. I mean, it's a tough division there in the East and the NFC. But I don't know. I think their defense is where it needs to be. I think they did enough for their offense that I think Washington's going to come out and win this game. I mean, again, team at home, first week of the season, pick 'em game. I mean, why not? I think that if there's any time to pick Washington, I think this is it. I think this could be another Cleveland Browns situation where take a look at what the Chargers do after this week if they do lose this game. Because again, as weird as it sounds, if things happen in that AFC West division, the Chargers could be right there close to the top or even competing for a wild card spot towards the end of the season. So, even if they don't pull out this game, there could be some opportunities for some good value on them down the road, just like we talked about with the Browns playing their week 1 game against a tough opponent.
We're all really high on Justin Herbert. Yes?
Yes.
Facts.
Okay. But what if I told you in week 1, coming off of his rookie campaign where he was stellar, he goes across the country to a different time zone and gets punched in the mouth by a staunch defense. Staunch a word? I don't even know. I'm the word guy. Let's edit that.
I passed English a few times.
No, you passed once. You've taken English a few times.
What if I told
my math is clearly poor also.
30 for 30. What if I told you Justin Herbert got punched in the mouth to kick off his sophomore slump campaign, setting up a wonderful comeback of the year next year? Would we be surprised? Carl wouldn't be. Tommy, what do you think?
No. What if I told you that one of the most heartbroken franchises in the Chargers, all it takes to set that off again is a little bit of Fitzmagic. And let me tell you, to start this season off in Washington with that defense, him throwing to Logan Thomas, Terry McLaurin, Antonio Gibson running, Listen, I am very high on Justin Herbert. I do think there's going to be some sophomore slumpage in there, but I think that he's still going to be a very good quarterback. I think Austin Eckler's ceiling, if he stays healthy, is through the roof.
Mm-hmm.
But to start this off away against that defense with that line, a minus one underdog at home, give me Washington all day.
I like it too. I mean, there's a world where the Chargers win this game. I just don't think it's this one. I'm not as high on Ryan Fitzpatrick as you are, but the man is a professional quarterback. He knows what he's doing. He's just the epitome of like, yeah, that'll do.
Mm-hmm.
And it does. And once in a while, you get a little bit of magic, a little bit of that beard, a little bit of cocky post-game bravado, a lot of fun. It's not quite a Kirk Cousins. You like that, but there's some magic in the air when he gets going. And I don't think he even needs to be magic this week. I think he just needs to be good enough. They're definitely going to cover this spread. I think they're going to win outright.
Mm-hmm.
Unanimously, looks like we are taking the football team.
Yep.
Okay.
Got it.
Moving forward, this one feels pretty easy to me. Cardinals traveling on the road, opening the year at the Tennessee Titans, who are favored by 3. Over under there is 52.5. So Vegas doesn't love that defense unless they think it's going to be a blowout. We know that the Cardinals can score. We know that the Titans can probably score, but that defense can be pretty good too. I'm personally thinking I'm picking the Titans. I think they're going to cover it. I think they're going to run away with it. We'll see. Maybe this is the Kyler Murray breakout MVP campaign that we've been waiting for. He's certainly good enough. He's been here long enough now that I wouldn't be surprised to see it. So maybe this is week 1 of that MVP type season. Mm-hmm. But I think we're going with the Titans here on my end. Carl, what do we think?
Yeah, really high on Titans this year. I mean, obviously they have an easy division. This isn't a division game. But high on them. I don't think the line's high enough, which is concerning. Kind of what we talked about with the Seahawks line is like, why is it so low? Now? Right. Like, but in my opinion, you look at the Cardinals roster and it's almost like, if you stopped watching football 3 years ago and you were like, oh, look at all the players on this team. All these players are going to be on the same team. You'd think like LeBron was getting a super team together, like J.J. Watt's getting a super team together to win a super team.
It's literally the Lakers. LeBron is appropriate. Yeah. It is the Lakers.
So like you look at all the big names on the roster and what they've done in the past, but I just don't see them doing it in the current. So I'm out on the Cardinals for the most part this season. I don't think that this game against the Titans is going to make it any easier.
If Julio Jones were healthy, do we feel like this line would be higher?
We have been asking that question about that player for about a decade now.
Fair enough. Yet he consistently finds ways to perform even when he is infuriatingly inconsistent.
He does. He's the king of not practicing and still I made that joke, but he is the epitome of a gamer because he more often than not shows up on Sunday.
Always. What do you think of this game, Tommy?
So spoiler alert, this is going to be my YOLO pick of the week. I'm going with the Cardinals.
Wow.
I think that the fact that the Titans have been the hardest hit COVID team so far in training camp, especially their coaching staff, I think that plays I think that's where Vegas is getting this line from. I do like the pieces that the Cardinals added. I think AJ Green is going to actually come really in handy as the second wide receiver on that team.
Can we cut that? Can we quote that later? I like that needs to be a drop later this season. I think AJ Green is going to be really handy. Continue.
I actually, before you mentioned it, I forgot that they added J.J. Watt, so I think that helps them. And yeah, I just think that all those factors. It's like I said, this is my YOLO pick of the week because am I confident in it? Absolutely not. But I do think the Cardinals cover here.
Not a game I love. The COVID concerns are real. Even if they have a relatively healthy quote unquote roster, practice time early on, coaching, that's tough. It's tough to overcome.
It made not a lot of changes this offseason, but the fact that both Julio Jones and AJ Brown are starting off as questionable gives me pause about how smooth that offense is going to, even though Derrick Henry can run forever.
That's fair. If this was December, I'd tell you that it's Titans all day by a million.
I would probably say the same.
December, Derrick Henry is a different animal. September, he could have 40 yards and limp off the field and piss off a lot of fantasy football managers. So there's a world. I see it. I can see it happening.
Who's the Titans quarterback, though?
Your favorite guy. Your favorite.
My favorite.
Ryan
Tannehill. The Tannehill.
The auto draft king. Shout out to Kay. All right. So, Tommy, you're taking the Cardinals. Carl, you're taking the Titans.
You need the Titans, yep.
I'm going to take the Titans. I don't feel great about it. I'm probably not going to put real money on that. I'm just going to put fake money on it. Moving on. The Miami Dolphins at our New England Patriots. Should I share that information? Our New England Patriots. Where the Patriots, I was surprised to learn earlier this week, surprised again that the line hadn't really moved too much. Your New England Patriots favored by 3 at home, but the over-under here, 43.5 points, which I think stinks. I think it sticks because we talked about earlier, I think maybe off the pod. We're going to cut this part out because I'm fucking it up entirely.
There's no cuts.
No cuts. The Patriots defense really might be the best defense in the league. It can happen. We can see it happening. You have the best coach of all time.
Do we have Homer glasses on, though? Do we have Homer glasses on?
Do we? Listen, I really expected the Dolphins to be favored in this game. Yeah, you're on the road. Yeah, Tua's looks shaky. But the Dolphins are pesky in a bad year. When you have a coach that learned under Bill Belichick with a team that's recently beaten you, upset you when they shouldn't have, they're only getting better. Jalen Waddle, oh, by the way, everybody talks about Devonta Smith. Jalen Waddle is the guy for Tua. That's his binky right there. He stretches the field. He makes it dynamic. It's a good enough defense. It's a good enough team. You have a rookie quarterback in Mac Jones starting. I don't know, 3 points.
Are you making a case for the Dolphins?
Listen. Bill Belichick has never started a rookie quarterback as the Patriots head coach for a reason. I'm very high on Mac Jones. I think he's great. No, sorry, in week one. Never started a rookie quarterback in week one.
Not even what I was getting at. The reason it's not the reason that he doesn't want to start rookies. It's the reason is that there was no rookie that would ever beat out Tom Brady.
Yes, I'm aware of that. But I'm just saying, he has his record against rookie quarterbacks. Rookie quarterbacks aren't the thing for him. He's going with the rookie quarterback. I don't know. I don't feel great about it, and I will eat my words.
I think you will
when they win. But I'm going to go out on a limb here, and I'm going to take the Dolphins. I'm taking the points on the road.
All right.
How about
this
that?
This has been a fun podcast, everyone. I can't believe you're taking the Dolphins. I can't believe that. I think my thoughts on why Mac Jones is the starting quarterback is because Cam Newton developed a personality, not an individual personality, but like a playing style where he didn't want to give up that style. And Belichick is going back to those roots 20 years ago, what Tom Brady and an elite defense where Mac Jones just has to manage the game, make good decisions, make tight passes in the spots that he needs to, don't force it, and let the defense carry it. So I think the Patriots win this game by maybe not a touchdown, but definitely more than 3. Mm-hmm. I think maybe 5 to 6 points would be where I see this game ending up, in a low-scoring game, which doesn't help the line being at 3. But I think if they can keep it low enough, we've seen the Patriots defense, maybe not last year, but they had a lot of players that were starters opt out for obvious reasons. So I think that having all those players come back, you get Kyle Van Noy back in the defense that wasn't on the team last year. I mean, we could go on and on with Patriots players just because it's our home team, but like Matthew Judon, I mean, I think he's going to be I think their linebacker is going to go back to what was their nickname 2 years ago?
The Boogeymen. The
Boogeymen are coming back. Who knows what their nickname will be this time around? But I mean, I just that season they were throwing shutouts. Like it was, I mean, they stopped almost every team that season. So I don't know. That's what I see happening. At least in this first week, we'll see how it goes. But I mean, long term, the Patriots don't have too difficult of a schedule. So if Mac Jones can just manage the game and let the defense work, I mean, it could be a fun season for us up here in New England.
Yeah, Carl took everything I was going to say right out of my mouth. Because it's not so much for me. It's not
first time caller, long time listener, Tommy Sullivan.
Especially this game, this is not going to be so much of the Mac Jones show. This is going to be the power running the defense. The Dolphins defense low key got to me a lot worse. They had a lot of people like I don't know. I forget. I have to double check if Xavier Howard got traded, but I know that he asked for a trade. There's a lot going on in flux with that defense. And I mean, speaking of kind of annoyed, that was one person that literally the Patriots plucked back from the Dolphins. Mm-hmm. And so to me, I think this game screams a strong defense, strong rushing attack, Mac Jones game managing his way to maybe like a 20 to 13, 20 to 16 outcome. So I would take the Patriots.
You can't change your mind. You're already committed.
No, I'm not. We're on the record. I picked the Dolphins to cover. I don't disagree with anything you guys said. I will just say, is Mac Jones the guy? I like him. On him.
I'm so confident.
I'll tell you what. If the Dolphins win this game, I'll wear a Dolphins hat next week. I'll rep the Dolphins next week if they beat the Patriots.
Doesn't have anything to do with the fact that
hurts.
Your favorite color.
Favorite colors. I probably have like 3 hats.
This is a season where Mac Jones is going to get a handful of wins where all he has to do is hover around 275, 300 passing yards, and they're going to get wins. All he has to do is hit that benchmark, hit 68% of his passes.
But in week 1, 68%. Yeah. Week 1, your first real professional game as a starter in the NFL.
Another looking on Sunday up there.
I have no idea.
Actually,
I live here. I should probably know.
Hopefully good. I got a tea time on Monday.
But yes, week 1, yes, because he proved that he could do it throughout. The only thing he's done since he signed a contract is improve.
I hope you're right. I would love to be wrong, but I don't feel great taking it in week 1. My apologies to Bill Belichick, who will ban me from ever speaking to him because, we
future friend of the show. Don't forget.
Future friend of the show, Bill Belichick, is really going to hate this one. Steel lockbox memory, that man. Okay.
We're looking at a high of 82, partly cloudy, mostly sunny on Sunday.
All day. All right.
Sounds like Alabama football weather, if you ask me.
All right. QB1. Everybody else is high on him. I'm not high on him. I just okay. We're gonna move on. Bears at Rams. The LA Rams are hosting the Chicago Bears. Rams are favored by over a touchdown, 7.5 points. The over/under here is 46. We think the Rams are probably going to have one of the best defenses in the league. I personally like Matt Stafford. Rookie quarterback on the road, kind of a similar situation. I guess Mac Jones isn't on the road, but regardless, I don't see a world unless, lightning strikes, somebody gets hurt, where the Rams lose this game or don't cover. Carl, tell me, what do we think?
I think that the spread is higher than what I would have anticipated. It makes it a tough call for me. I think that this is very appropriately spaced out from Vegas. I will say that over/under looks a little too low for my liking, so I would hammer the over on this one. Are we sure that the Rams are going to have one of the best defenses in the NFL this year? There's been a lot. They weren't that good last year. First of all, there's been a lot of talk about them misusing. Crud. We can take this out. We can edit this out.
No, we can't.
What's his name?
One take. Are you talking about Aaron Donald?
No.
Keep Talib. Greatest cornerback in the league.
Why am I spacing on the cornerback's name?
Jalen Ramsey.
Yeah, they've been using him in the slot. Why?
Okay.
So to me, I do agree with Justin Fields on the road. as for his first start is less than ideal. The line is tough for me. I am still gonna take the Rams. But like I said, I would hammer this over. No questions asked.
True. So my concerns about the total would be, can the Bears score enough points to take it over the top? Because I have this game, I think, like the Rams winning by 10 or more. So I would take, again, 7 is what is it, 7.5 is a high spread.
7.5, yeah.
That's tough to try and like swallow. But again, I think that's another Vegas number where they're trying to say, we're going to put it at 7.5 because people are going to be afraid to bet it because of the 7.5, where this game could easily be a 10-point spread, but they know that like that's a less realistic number for people to jump on. So I like the Rams. I like it in a bigger point differential than 7, so I'll take the spread for the Rams, but I think that the over-under is going to be tough because I don't think the Bears are going to be able to score enough points to help that number get higher. So that's my thoughts. I'm really high on the Rams. I have them ranked 4th. So Chiefs, Bucks, Bills, Rams.
K-Man power rankings. We're gonna have to run through those at some point.
I will say I don't know about the Rams as a whole, but I am this is going to be the Matthew Stafford redemption season.
I could be the only one, but I am a Matthew Stafford defender, and I mean he's just bad situation, and maybe he's just a good stats, bad team guy. We finally get to find out with old man Matt Stafford, old quote unquote. I'm rooting for him. I think he makes a difference. I think he brings something different than Jared Goff did.
Like talent.
Some wins.
He doesn't have a lot of those in the old tool belt historically, but talent for sure. Yeah,
you could make an argument that this is the best receiving core he's had as a
period.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Calvin Johnson aside, what else did he have in those years? Yeah, absolutely. Okay, Rams, we like them. Ravens on the road at the Las Vegas Raiders. Rams are favored by 4, over under 50.5 points in this one. So we think there's going to be some scoring. Give me a world, Carl, where the Raiders win this game. What do they have to do?
Hope the Ravens bus doesn't show up to the stadium. I mean, I don't know. I would take this all the way up to 6. I mean, obviously, again, that would be a sucky number, but I would take this. I don't think that they win by much more than a touchdown, but I like the Ravens. So having the line be where it is at 4, I feel pretty comfortable that they can win. Again, it's a tough number if they're up by 10, 11 points and give up a late touchdown. That sucks, but I don't know. I just don't think the Raiders have anything good this year. The Raiders, I mean, I don't know. I think they're looking at last place in the division for them, so nothing good to say about the Raiders.
I don't disagree. The only good thing, Darren Waller is the only good thing that they have going for them.
Darren Waller. Are we worried about injuries to the Ravens? Signed Le'Veon Bell just hours ago. Injuries all around the offense. They lost our guy, Matt Judon.
He was the only one, though. He was the only starter that they lost.
Well, who just got hurt in the preseason? Their star running back, but
I was going to say, like for those playing DFS, this would be a nice game to take a flyer on Gus Edwards if you're looking for a bargain bin. Because I'm also taking the Ravens. -4 is way too low of a line. You got to jump on that now while it's there. I would like you said. I agree, Carl. 6.5, even 7. I would probably still take it. Like injuries as a whole for the season, I agree that it's something to watch out for in Baltimore. But for this week against this Raiders team, I'm not too worried about it.
All right, moving on. A couple more games here on the slate. 6 more games.
Did you take the Ravens as well?
I did. I'm sorry. I didn't tell you that. I'm all in on the Ravens. I don't. I mean, maybe if Jesus comes down to play quarterback, although I don't know if that guy had a good arm or not. Maybe some injuries. Not sure. Not really excited to watch these games, although, spoiler alert, we might be excited to bet on them. Interesting how that works. So we're going to do a quick speed round here. Boys, I'm going to give you the game and the line. You give me who you're taking, maybe a fun fact if you have one. If you don't, that's fine. But let's get through these pretty quickly. First one, the Jacksonville Jaguars on the road. Trevor Lawrence, Urban Meyer making his debut against the Deshaun Watson-less Houston Texans. Looks like that's going to be Tyrod Taylor's team, over under 44.5 points. Jaguars are favored. Rookie quarterback, maybe a prodigy, maybe not, on the road at the Texans, who might be the worst team in the NFL. What do we think?
I'm actually going to take the Texans here. Say we will with Taylor. I think that he is a gamer. This is the trash bowl of the season. They're getting out of the way week one. Tyrod Taylor is a gamer, and he's proven it when given short spurts over the last few years. And I think that this is one of those games that he wills it for his team.
As long as he has a lung that's fully inflated, that doesn't get popped by a team doctor, right?
Pray to God. Pray to God.
Yeah, I'm going Texans also. I have the Texans as my last ranked team for my power rankings, below the Lions, but not far in front of them is the Jaguars. So I'll take the Texans with the points. I think, why not? Again, probably wouldn't bet it because it's a crap team, and we know how betting crap teams go for me. The worse the team, the worse the loss for me. So I'm gonna stay off it, but if I had to pick, I'm taking the points with the Texans.
Yep. We're gonna need like OG, like superstar. I'm exaggerating, like Buffalo Bills, Tyrod Taylor, for the Texans to have a chance at not losing this game by 15 points. I think you guys are fucking.
So you're on the Jaguars.
Jaguars all the way. Duval, baby. Let's go. Trevor Lawrence is getting it done. That team blows. Nobody in the organization wants to be there. They're just happy to have a job. They're tearing that thing down. They might as well build a new stadium while they're at it. In Houston, get out of here. Trevor, Jaguars all day. Eagles at Falcons. Falcons are favored by 3. Another crap bowl of the season. What do we think?
I'll take the Eagles and the points. Crap game. Give me the points. Don't really care about it. Probably won't bet it, but Eagles and the points. We'll see how it goes. Let's let it ride. Fly, Eagles, fly.
Is Jalen Hurts a de facto rookie, more or less? Or do we feel more confident than that?
More confident. He showed it a little bit. He helped teams in the fantasy playoffs last year.
Okay. What's your pick?
I guess I'll take the Eagles. I'm pretty much in the same boat. I'll take the underdog here just because both not very good teams. It's just a toss-up, so give me the ones that will give me a better payout if I go for it. Eagles.
I probably wouldn't bet this game. I think the Eagles are competing with the Giants on who can be the worst team in their already awful division. Matt Ryan's got some new toys, and they look to be healthier than Julio Jones was consistently. I'm taking the Falcons. I think they cover this game pretty easily. Vikings, -3.5 on the road at the Bengals. Tommy, I know you have some opinions on the Bengals. Who are you taking in this game?
This game, I am taking the Vikings, actually.
How do we feel about the Bengals offensive line?
It's trash. I don't think that you saw Joe Burrow's entire leg got eviscerated, and I don't think that they did anything to improve that. And that was what was going on the entire last season. So they knew it was a problem from day one, and they didn't do anything. They added yet another young receiver, so they have a good receiver core, but how much time is Joe Burrow going to get to throw that ball out? And for this revamped Vikings defense, I don't think it's going to be a lot. Give me way more than 3.5 points for this matchup.
Carl?
I'm on the other side. I think the Bengals can cover. I mean, I think it's right on, like 2.5, 3 would be the projected line for what I got. So, I mean, not super thrilled about it, but for record keeping, let's go Bengals for me.
So we could say that you do not like that. On the record, for a future friend of the podcast, Kirk Cousins, you do not like that.
That's correct.
Okay.
Give me Joe Burrow and his recently eviscerated leg.
I'm Team Tommy here. I love just the sling it and wing it offense for the Vikings. Justin Jefferson, Adam Thielen, Dalvin Cook. I think the Vikings win this one going away. I think their defense is going to be a little bit better on the road against a bad team. and maybe they eviscerate the other leg. I hope not. Joe Burrow, stay healthy, Joe Burrow. I like you.
Please.
Okay, moving into our totally unwatchable games of the week. The 49ers favored by 7.5 points at the Detroit Lions. We've said this a lot recently, but might be the worst team in the league. Tommy, who are we taking?
This Lions team is shades of 0-16. Even though they're on the road, even though the line is -7.5, give me the 49ers all day here.
I'm on the other side.
Jared Goff.
I'm on the other side again. I'm on the other side.
Wow.
Give me the points. Bad teams, give me the points. Bad teams, give me the points. Bad teams. I'll take the points. Home dog.
Just talk.
That's what bad teams say all year is give me the points, please. We need some points.
That's exactly what they're going to say with talentless Jared Goff at quarterback throwing to let's play this game again. You don't get to say Tyrell Williams, who popped up at the end of all of our fantasy drafts. Who's the next best receiver that's not a tight end on that team?
Listen,
that's not a name.
I'm probably not going to bet it. I'm not going to bet it. I'm not going to bet it. But if I was betting it, I would. This is like your Patrick Mahomes. Like, I can't bet against Patrick Mahomes. It's just not going to happen. Mm-hmm. Could you imagine watching this like shit show of a game, rooting for the 49ers to hold on or like score points? Could you imagine if they're losing in the fourth quarter? You're like, you need 14 points. You're rooting for this trash team to try and come back. I mean, I guess you're rooting at that point for the Lions to fail, which could happen. I mean, we've seen it, but
I get what you're saying, but I can envision it because either way, I get to see handsome Jimmy Garoppolo throw that football around the field and extend that lead. Or it's like mini Mahomes time. Trey Lance comes in and he says, hey, you know what? Like, we're going to go win the game now. We're going to chuck it.
By 3, and you don't cover. What's the line? 7? 7.5?
7.5.
You want that hook?
You give Kyle Shanahan a lead with his rushing attack prowess? Yep.
All right, fair enough.
We'll see.
I'm still taking the 49ers, but that's a really great point. That man loves to blow a big lead. Little revenge game here. Jets traveling down to Carolina, taking on Sam Darnold and the Panthers, who are favored by 5.5 points. Let me just open with a fun fact. Friend of the show, Tony Romo. I don't know why everybody's friend of the show now. Future friend of the show.
We have a lot of imaginary.
We have a lot of imaginary friends and a lot of imaginary money from all of the imaginary wins that we have on these bets. Future friend of the show, Tony Romo, said that he thinks Zach Wilson is going to be one of the best quarterbacks in the league very, very soon. Like this year, kind of soon. I don't even know what to make of that. I kind of think I got punked. Like it was a meme. Like there's no way that can be real. I didn't even check.
How many Coronas did Tony Romo have before he said that?
He
also not a sponsor.
He found his beach. Let me tell you, hashtag not a sponsor.
I'm on the Jets, to be honest. I mean,
I like the points. I don't hate the points.
Correct. That's what I'm saying is give me the points. Where are we at? Bottom of the barrel. Bad team versus bad team. Give me the points all day.
Kind of more fun. Even if you don't like the New York Jets, kind of more fun to root for the rookie to go out there, sling it and wing it. My phrase of the week: sling it and wing it, and put up some points. You just have to win or lose by less than a touchdown. It's not. There's a world where that happens.
I could see him winning outright, but I mean, I don't think it's going to happen. But I just don't think. I think give me the points, and I'll call it a day.
Well, what I was going to say is it's ironic that Tony Romo said that about Zach Wilson because you know what? Who they were saying that about 3 years ago?
Tony Romo.
No,
Dak Prescott.
No, they were saying Donald would be great out the gate, and he very obviously was not. He has apparently looked very good in camp. I do not trust the Jets. I trust the Panthers more, and I'm actually going to take them as even with the points. Give me the Panthers.
Pretty boy Zach, I'm going to take the points.
It would be
Jets in the road.
It would be perfectly Jets to just get their doors blown off by Sam Darnold the first game after they trade him.
That's true. I will be rooting for that because I'm not going to bet it, but if I had to, I'm taking the points. That's a great point. Great point, though. Very Jets to lose to Sam Darnold.
Great point, Diane.
Broncos, final game of the week. Broncos, terrible team, -3, facing once again, one of the worst teams in the league, the New York Football Giants. Broncos favored by 3. What do we think?
Broncos easily.
Just turn the TV
in
on.
my opinion. Uh-oh. We got a hand in the head. I'm taking the Broncos. I think that they're going to be one of the most improved teams in the league this year. They are getting a lot of pieces back on defense. People forget that Von Miller was out all last year. They have him back now. Daniel Jones is still a turnover machine. He has made zero improvement from last year to this year. Saquon is going to be very, very limited in his first week back since the ACL tear. So yeah, I think this is the Broncos in a walk.
I'll take the Giants in a toss-up, and if it hasn't been my motto up to this point, I mean, I think it's pretty clear that I'm taking the points in a bad game. Give me the points. Give me the points.
Probably important to bring up that Bradley Chubb was arrested today on a failure to appear warrant. Doesn't do
Bradley Chubb. That was your nickname in high school.
Wow. I don't even know what to say. Did I say Bradley Chubb or did I say Bradley Beal before?
Bradley Chubb.
Fucking Christ.
I don't think Bradley Beal plays football, does he?
No, he doesn't. But you messed me up. All right, that's a good joke, Bradley Chubb. That was my name in high school. I don't even know what to say. That's a good joke. Fuck you.
That's a great joke.
Bradley Chubb arrested today. Failure to appear warrant. Broncos. I don't know. Daniel Jones could throw 7 interceptions. Are you making me watch it? Are you making me bet it?
No.
All right, then.
You don't have to bet money, but you have to make a pick right now.
Give me the Broncos. It's only 3. It's only 3. Daniel Jones is really bad. The Giants are really bad. Okay. All right. That is our look around the NFL. Let's jump in here and take a look. You know how we feel about these games now. So we're going to play a quick game here while we are drafting our favorite picks of the week against the spread. We're going to do this like a snake fantasy football draft, 3 rounds. This is a really horrible explanation because I was not prepared to transition, so we're going to cut this out and start again.
You'll have the rules just laid out below.
All right, perfect. So I'm just going to do it really fast. All right, that's our look around the NFL. Now that you know how we feel about all of the games in Week 1 of the 2021 NFL season, let's take a look and draft some of our favorite picks. This is where you get a quick look inside of our minds, see if the best game of the week is suddenly off the board. What are we going to do next? What do we like? Quick rules here. The 3 of us are going to snake draft this. We have to pick 3 separate games in the first round. We can't pick the same game twice. And we're not going to let each other bet the opposite side of the spread. So if Tommy opens and says he likes the Cowboys and Carl says, just kidding, I like the Bucks, we're not going to let that happen. You can't pick the same game in any round. And then at the end of the week, whichever pick you decide is your number 1 pick of the week, if you win that, it's worth 3 points. Your middle pick is worth 2. Your last pick is worth 1. You don't lose any points if you lose the game. You only get to win points because we love points. I think we've established that on this podcast at this point.
Give me the points.
Give us the points. So
hashtag give me the points.
Hashtag give me the points.
I have a generator thing.
All right. Randomly looking at the draft order here, Tommy, hit me with it.
All right. It is randomizing now. I swear to God it shows me as the winner.
Yep. Hold it back a little bit, like back like this. Actually, it's not even. It was definitely Tommy. For those of you listening, for those of you listening and not watching, it was definitely.
I will
Tommy.
take my name out of this. I'm actually kind of. I did not want the first pick, but okay. Let me just randomize it. And the second pick.
Pat. I think it writes on the Jeopardy theme, so whistling it might get us copyrighted.
Yeah, I mean, what's his face just got fired? Mike Richards. I don't know. Have my people call your people Jeopardy. We love you.
All right.
Tommy, what are we taking?
So I have to take my favorite game. Just taking a quick look first. You know what? I'm gonna be super safe here and just pick the game that is a pick'em, and I'm gonna take the Washington football team with the points against the Chargers. I'm gonna keep it at the line.
Interesting. All right.
Number 1 pick of the week. All right. I am taking the 49ers. There's no chance they lose that game by less than a touchdown. It's a 7.5 point spread, but the 49ers are blowing this team out of the water. Forget the points. Sacrilegious. I'm taking the 49ers.
With my 2 picks back to back, don't know how you let me get these 2 picks. I'm taking the Buffalo Bills minus 6.5 and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers Thursday night. Hopefully the night that this podcast comes out at minus 8. Big spreads, big risk, obviously. Backdoor cover is in play, but I mean, you let me take the two of the best teams in the league in week 1. I'll take it all day.
I'm gonna stick with the trend. I'm taking Patrick Mahomes. It's a big number to cover 6.5, but they're at home. I'm not gonna bet against Patrick Mahomes. I'm not gonna do it in week 1. I'm taking the Chiefs. Maybe a better option out there, but that's the guy that I want on my side when money is on the line.
All right, then this actually makes it really easy because I get all the 3 picks that I wanted. I will take the Patriots with my second pick. And then with my last pick, give me the Broncos because the Giants are that bad of a franchise this year.
Fair enough. With my third pick, I'm taking the Vikings. This is one of those games where I will bet it and I will be shocked because the line is not going to the outcome is not going to be what I think it's going to be. But I don't see how the Bengals win this game. I don't see how they keep it close. I think the Vikings are going to win in easy fashion. So give me Vikings minus 3.5.
So my last pick, let's go the LA Rams. LA Rams, another big spread team. It could be a blowout. Again, I think the lines are going to adjust as we go throughout the season. I think these are gotcha lines where the lines are high and they want people to take the underdog, thinking that there's no way a team's going to win by this much. And I think it's just going to be 3 blowout games where the line's a little bit undervalued. So I'll take all 3.
All right. So quick.
That's flawless, boys. Good job.
Really, a lot of safe picks here, I think, although we don't necessarily agree on all of them, but I feel like they're pretty safe. So just to recap, number 1 bet of the week, the Washington football team. Going to Tommy.
I regret taking that.
I like that bet. I like that bet. I like Washington. Would I have made it my first bet? No.
Super safe with the line to start off.
Speaking of bets that Carl
I have it as my
with,
number. I have the Washington football team as my number 2 value, where I think they should be in terms of the line versus where the line is actually set. So, I mean, I don't hate it.
Flipping that script with the number 2 pick, I took San Francisco 49ers because I think they are going to blow out the Detroit Lions. That literally just might as well not take the field with a wide receiver because it would be just as effective as what they're putting out there. Carl taking the Buffalo Bills over the Pittsburgh Steelers, high-powered offense on the road week 1, and then right back to Carl. Thinks Tom Brady and the Buccaneers are going to cover an 8-point spread on Trophy Night. We will see. Speaking of
fire the
cannons, high-powered offenses. I'm taking the Kansas City Chiefs to cover at home, 6.5 over the Cleveland Browns. Tommy is taking the Patriots minus 3. Professional, formal games that matter debut for Mac Jones at home against the Miami Dolphins. He's taking the Patriots. Also taking the Broncos on the road, one bad team against another one. We like we allegedly like to take the points on this pod. We're kind of breaking those rules for everybody not named Carl. Although Carl took a lot of favorites. I don't know.
My best bets were heavy favorites. My quick pick 'em bets. The crap games were all with the points.
So I'm taking the Vikings. I think it's going to be a blowout. Tommy likes the Broncos, and Carl finishing things up with the LA Rams. That's your recap. All right, finally, listen, everybody's here to make money, and what's the fastest way to make money or lose money, but fastest way to make money in gambling?
The parlay,
kid. Give me a parlay. So this is the spot in the podcast just to wrap things up every week where we are going to take our 3 favorite picks, one from each of us. I think logically that might be the ones that we took in the first round, but we can talk that out really quickly. And I'm going to drop those picks into DraftKings live right now with the odds as they are. And we're going to let you know what the odds are if you were to bet that yourself. So, Carl, you want to kick us off? What's your favorite pick of the week? Just to clarify, we don't have to pick against the spread here. You can pick a money line. You can do whatever you want. You can play with it a little bit, but don't make it too difficult because I am doing this live. So what do you like?
So my thought process here for the parlay is how can I get us as a family, not just the 3 of us who are entering our pick here, but how can I get us just a little bit more money by being a little bit riskier? So talked about it a little bit earlier. Give me the Texans money line. Texans money line should be plus money because they are an underdog. I think the line's 3. I think they could cover and win. Close game. Don't think it's going to be a blowout, but I think there is a world where this is feasible. So let's get a little bit more money going on there with Houston Texans money line as my pick for this parlay.
For clarity there, Texans money line, Texans plus 135 to win outright. And even with the points, they're still underdogs. Plus 2.5, they are plus 100 there. So if you like the Texans, value on either side there. Tommy, what's your favorite pick of the week?
Just one pick for now?
Yeah, give me one.
Okay.
Toss this our parlay.
I think if we're doing if we're just looking straight up at the odds. Hold on, I'm just taking one last look to make sure. You know what? Give me the Eagles overall over the Falcons. Plus 145.
Okay, I like that too.
Definitely.
I like that too. We're gonna make some money today.
So, full disclosure to our listeners, I had a section here on the rundown titled the YOLO Bet of the Week, and after the first 2 bets by my co-host, I think that's what this section is. We're going with the YOLO Bet of the Week, picking the Texans and the Eagles. I don't know if that's what I would have done, but the Eagles, who are 3-point dogs in this game, plus 145 to win outright. For me, you know what? There's a reason that this is going to lose because it feels just way too easy. But I'm going to go with the Minnesota Vikings. And I'm going to take the points to give us a couple more points in the parlay, which means the Vikings have to win. The Vikings are favored by 3.5 points on the road. They have to win by 4 to win this bet. That's minus 110 odds. So, I like this number. Just to recap, we're taking Texans money line plus 135. We're taking the Eagles money line plus 145. And I'm just messing things up because I'm not taking a dog and I'm betting the spread. I'm taking the Minnesota Vikings minus 3.5 at minus 110. That gives us a juicy plus 999 odds on this 3-pick parlay, which means if you were to bet $10, including the $10 you get back, you get a nice little almost $110 payout. Pretty much a plus 1,000 bet right here. $10 to win 100. Not bad. Not bad, as they say.
Seems pretty simple to me.
Pretty simple.
We talked about it. I don't necessarily like the Vikings, but I'm gonna bet that parlay for us. Why not? I'm gonna bet that. I'll ride with it.
No, I'm putting it down.
If we can win some money, if we can hit our first parlay of the season, we set ourselves up for a pretty fun season. It'd be a good month.
Pretty
Bankroll set
fun.
one weekend.
Bankroll boys, let's go. That's copyrighted somewhere else in Boston. Shouldn't say that. All right. That's both our favorite games of the week and our YOLO bet of the week. Nothing wrong with a parlay. Parlay Pat. That's what they call me in the streets. Just kidding. They don't call me anything in the streets because I'm poor.
Except Bradley Chubb.
Except Bradley Chubb. And with that, boys, this is a 3-man rush. Week 1. We did it. We got through. I hope you're listening at home and chuckling as much as we are at the stupidity here. And remember, if you have a problem with gambling, call Carl. All right. This is the 3-man rush.
Friends.
We'll see you next week. Thanks for listening. Go football.
Peace.
Enjoy your time at the sportsbook, people.
Let's go.